Okay, hi everybody, I'm Jeff Denworth, VP of Marketing at DDN, DataDirect Networks. I've been with the company now for 7 years. My title to the file I actually sent to Addison was Vendor Smackdown, not Showdown, so we'll see how this one goes, but wish me luck. So DDN, for those of you that don't know us, and the reason I kind of highlight that is today we're used on just about 60 to 70% of the world's top 100 supercomputers. We haven't checked the newest list. The premier storage foundation for Lustre file system environments, GPFS file system environments, a number of different HSM solutions that we power, and increasingly next generation analytics solutions as well as cloud storage platforms. So the company's been on a growth tear as a result of really solving a very specific set of challenges around the HPC space and the data-intensive computing space. Ken was talking a little bit about general purpose storage arrays. We don't make those at all. We make very, very specific appliances for accelerating I/O, delivering the lowest latency and enabling a broad set of workflows that really are powered by a collection of technologies that we've been engineering for just about 15 years. So our vision to enable organizations to maximize the value of information everywhere. If you look at the company's business, really we're mostly focused on really optimizing throughput. And we talk about throughput in so many different ways in this market. With the emergence of SSDs, the whole definition of throughput is kind of becoming a little bit crazy because people don't normally think about SSDs for throughput. But when we take a step back from the discussion, we really look at it and try at every single level of the operational environment to maximize the amount of performance that an application can see, whether it's throughput-oriented, transactional-oriented, or a mix of both. But then throughput also from an organizational perspective. And we have a number of new tools that we're bringing to market that are really optimized around making organizations more productive. And that moves well beyond talking about your scratch space, looking at really the whole of the information lifecycle and workflow and accelerating and integrating every single aspect of the experience. So, as I mentioned, 15 years with multi-$100 million in sales on an annual basis, specifically for data-intensive computing. You can find us investing heavily into our product roadmap as a result of benefiting from the success that we've seen in HPC and data-intensive computing markets. And what's come out of that is a very cache-centric, real-time storage and architecture that powers a number of parallel file systems. The ones that we integrate directly within our appliances, our SFA appliances, such as Lustre and such as GPFS. But increasingly, we're moving into a more expanded definition of high-throughput computing, where we're also adding in-situ analytics via the Apache Hadoop distribution that we embed natively within our appliances, as well as integrating enterprise NAS access for organizations that are looking for standards-based, high-performance access to large storage pools. And then finally, we tie everything together from a collaboration perspective with a hyperscale object storage platform that we call WAS. And so WAS is a distributed, massively scalable object storage system that ultimately has integrated into our Lustre and GPFS appliances to enable either data publication or to enable disaster recovery and or archiving. So a very unified series of product directions that we're moving in. As you look farther out into the exascale timeframes, we're looking to enhance throughput through really the engineering of a whole new class of architecture designed to embrace next generation solid state. Looking at proof points, we're at a Showdown, so I figured I'd beat the chest a little bit. From a Lustre and GPFS perspective, we've continued to kind of remain at the top of the scalability spectrum. We did announce, today we announced a project that we're doing with Cray through ZIB and HLRN, where we sold multi-100 gigabyte a second system at the University of Texas in Austin. They just announced a 20 petabyte system that they deployed using the Lustre file system. But the story is expanding much beyond that, whether it's next generation analytics that are experiencing that same big data problem that you've had in HPC, to Hadoop, to even next generation types of cloud collaboration. DDN is focused on every single aspect of the architectural environment and embedding in efficiency as well as throughput, both from a performance perspective, but also from an organizational efficiency perspective. So we're absolutely executing to our mission of enabling organizations to maximize the value of all information everywhere. And would be happy to talk with any of you about what we're doing at our booth. And with that, I will open myself up to the scrutiny of our esteemed colleagues here. So I sit on the hot seat?
You sit on the hot seat. You got it.
Thanks, Jeff. Well, the first question you already know. This was a question that jumped out almost right away to Addison and myself when we saw your slides. You say maximize the value of all information everywhere.
Yep.
That's a huge exaggeration in our opinion. Put that in realistic terms.
Yeah, so it's a vision statement, which means that it's directional. And the company actually came to this through actually many months of going through the self-searching that you have with developing up vision statements. And today, we would define that as we maximize the value of information by providing it to our customers faster and enabling them to scale up the amount of information that they have in the all of that statement in a way that no other organization is doing today. When we talk about everywhere, that's a reflection of our WAS product. But if you look at the evolution of the company and where we're taking some of our products, they are heavily geared towards analytics. And we're seeing actually a huge uptake in the analytics space across all of our markets, including high-scale HPC. And that's why it's a vision statement. So it's
an
meant to be
idealistic
directional.
statement. So you're never going to attain it, actually.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So we make sure that you're not going to get there. Okay. Second question.
All right, well, since we were coming off of the top question of all information everywhere, we were looking at some of the specific examples cited on your slides. What specific solutions does DDN offer for in situ analytics, which was on your slide?
Sure. So our HScaler product is an integrated Hadoop product that we released in the first quarter of this year. We believe that we bring a lot of value to Hadoop environments, first by building in enterprise-class redundancy without having to replicate. Secondarily, by bringing to the table about 1 million lines of software designed to move data faster and at lower latency than anything else in the marketplace, meaning our RAID controller code. So we integrate that into a fairly customized system architecture that's been engineered by Per Brashers at DDN, who was formerly the capacity architect at Facebook. And as a result, it's a really, really fast system that allows people to analyze in place. If I looked at a little bit different of a topology, we also have in our arrays a virtualization engine. And in the virtualization engine, you can also run analytics. So for example, in the SKA project in Australia, the customer is actually doing data reduction in real time. So data comes in off of the sensors and they decide what is noise and what is signal, and they keep the signal and drop the noise. All in situ with an analytics engine that they run in our arrays.
Are those solutions all Hadoop specific, or do they go beyond Hadoop?
That one's custom. That one's custom to the customer. But in the case of Hadoop, we're offering a full turnkey Hadoop appliance, which makes it, by virtue of being in the appliance, in situ.
Good. Next question.
On your third slide, you actually had both Lustre and GPFS solutions. Are there situations in which you would recommend one over the other? And what drives that recommendation?
Yeah, absolutely. So, they're fairly different technologies if you kind of peel the layers back on them. From a Lustre perspective, you tend to find these in environments that favor open source software, and environments where you have very high client counts and a requirement for scalability. In the case of our GPFS solutions, you find these in organizations where you have extremely high single stream requirements, and organizations that require a mix of platforms to be supported from a client side, ranging from parallel file system clients to Windows and Linux native clients to NAS clients. And then finally, if you look at the data protection mechanisms, they're just more mature in GPFS today. You have snapshot, you have replication, you have other sorts of data management techniques that happen within the system that aren't yet resonant in Lustre. So in fact, it's pretty easy for the organization to figure out what plays where. And we have, in both cases, I would say, commercial applications of both of our products en masse. Some of our largest web customers, for example, are using our GridScaler product that has GPFS in it in the multi-dozen petabyte fashion. But to say that either of these platforms are ready for the enterprise, I think is looking at the discussion that we had earlier, you kind of have to look at, well, does the client support any sort of, or is the client something that any single application can access the platform. Is there all the data protection schemas that you need there? And I think both of them still have some work to do.
This is good color commentary, because we've
true
asked this
enterprise.
question a couple different dimensions, and people are coming back saying GPFS Luster, they're ready for prime time in enterprise.
You're not seeing these in places where organizations have huge performance requirements, then people make the switch off of a true enterprise IT standard, but you're not seeing these platforms unseat VMware ESX Server or, let's say, some of the other enterprise NAS platforms en masse.
Last question is your other secret question. On your WAS cloud solution, you referred to 100 petabyte data set analysis.
Yep.
Is that realistic for the cloud? How are we moving all that data?
Well, you have two ways to do that. So we have a number of customers that are growing to the 100 petabyte proportion. Most of them are building their own on-premise solutions. DDN is, I mean, we're an infrastructure provider, so when we sell stuff to our customers, they tend to kind of own that data already. But if you look at moving 100 petabytes to the cloud today, if you were to just dial up Amazon and say, give me a 100 petabyte contract, the way you would do that is they just ship you a bunch of boxes and you literally ship them right back to them. Moving 100 petabytes over.
So you're going to use
This is
FedEx.
called
you
JJTP,
would use
Jumbo
FedEx.
Jet Transfer Protocol.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Very
yeah, I
high
mean-
bandwidth, very high latency.
Just doing an FTP isn't really going to cut it if you want to make it within the system's obsolescence timeframe.
Jeff Denworth, thanks very much. You're off
Thanks
the hot
again.
seat.
No problem. Thanks, guys. Vote for me.